Hello there, Temple Beth Shalom. Rabbi Boxed back with my Parashat HaShavua, my message for the Torah portion this week. We are in Parashat Yitro, Exodus chapter 18:1 through 20:23. Yitro is named after Jethro, which was Moses' father-in-law. And Jethro was given a lot of credit because he is the one that instructed Moses on the idea that he was taking on too much responsibility for himself. And through his encouragement and direction, Moses created smaller groups of, we'll call them lower courts, if you will, that would handle certain cases. And as the cases got more important, they would go up with different groups. Exactly, that made so that when it got to the most important of court cases or the most important of problems or situations, Moses would then be responsible for adjudicating or for um, being responsible for what happened. And that was really important because Moses would have burnt out. Um, and at the same time, Jethro was also praising the God of Israel, Moses' God, for the protection that he provided for the Israelites, as well as for redeeming them from slavery and getting them out of Egypt. Um, and so Moses does what his father-in-law says, and actually, this is the real foundational ideas for the court system that we still use here in the United States of America, um, where you have your lower courts all the way up to your Supreme Court. Um, and so, what we have also a little bit further on is the Decalogue, the first time that God comes to the Israelites and gives them the Ten Commandments. And it begins with chapter 20. God spoke all these words, saying, I, the Eternal, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a sculptured image, and so on and so forth, all the way through all the commandments. And this is the first time that we see the Ten Commandments. And obviously, it comes back again also later on, but this is the first time. And it is even given a special page in the book. It's a little bit darker page, and it's given a special because we call it the Decalogue for public reading. Um, and God goes on to talk a little bit about what all these mean. What does it mean to honor your father and your mother? What does it mean to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy, and so on and so forth? And this is really the first time that this is God basically saying to the Israelites, okay, up until now you've pledged to follow the rules and do what you need to do so that I can be with you and take care of you. Well, now here's actually the most important of those commandments, the first 10 commandments. And that is significance. And you can imagine this scene at Mount Sinai. And if you've seen the movie The Ten Commandments, you can sort of get a Hollywood version. But this mountain covered with smoke and fire and lightning and God making God's presence known to all the Israelites. A little bit terrified. And at the end of the Torah portion for this week, we see the following lines. All the people witnessed the thunder and lightning, the blare of the horn, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they fell back and stood at a distance. You speak to us, they said to Moses, and we will obey. But let not God speak to us, lest we die. Moses answered the people, be not afraid, for God has come only in order to test you, and in order that the fear of God may be ever with you, so that you do not go astray. And so, it's a pretty important day, pretty important moment. And that shall be the end of this week's Torah portion, of Parashat Yitro. And I wish you an early Shabbat Shalom.